going on, guys? It's Matt back here with another video. Today I'm going to be talking about my new lens purchase, the wonderful Fujifilm XF 33mm f1.4 LMWR. It has the new LM linear motors with weather resistance, which is what the WR means. And why I'm going to be selling my previous favorite lens, the 35mm f1.4. Despite all its character and how well revered it is, I have to say that the 33mm is superior in every way. And I don't know, it's just a better option for me, especially as more of a video shooter professionally than a photo shooter, to just have this. And I don't want to have both. Like, the 33 is marginally bigger than the 35, but it's like it's just not enough to care. It is like twice the weight or something, and it's like with the lens hood it is kind of ridiculous, but to be honest, the resistance to flaring that this lens has is so good that I don't even think I need the lens hood. I'm actually thinking about just buying a clear filter and shooting it without the lens hood because I don't think I need it. And then the front element is protected because this also acts to protect the front element, obviously, but if I have a clear filter on it of a high quality, obviously not to degrade the awesome performance of this, then I don't see why I couldn't just shoot this without the lens hood. Honestly, the flare resistance is that good. And I'll show you some photos here that I took in low light. I want to compare these. Obviously, I'm going to show you a photo from the 16mm 1.4. This is obviously a different focal length, but the point of this photo is to show you that the lights coming into the camera cause a flare and like a general like haze and a look to that. But if you look at a picture in the same environment from the 33 1.4 that I shot that night, then you can see it is like tack sharp and no ambient light shining into the lens or around the room messed with the optical quality at all or added any form of haziness. It's just amazing what this lens can do. And also the bokeh is just wonderful. I'll just show you a picture. This is like some foliage, just like the little bokeh balls in the background. It just happened to happen that way. It happened to happen that way. Would you imagine that? The bokeh out of this is, I think, definitely more pleasing than out of the 35, and it's more consistent as well. Because after I was using this for a while, not only did I notice that it's a lot sharper than the 35, especially wide open. A lot of the photos I'm going to be showing you of the back and forth comparison between the 33 and the 35 today are going to be at the wider apertures that are with more bokeh, just because that's really where you're going to see the difference in character between these two a lot more, other than, like, you know, there's a 2mm focal length difference. It's negligible, but I think the bokeh rendering is going to be the biggest difference, because if you've watched any comparisons of these lenses, you'll know that after you're getting into the f5.6, f8 range, then the 35 1.4, the old lens, is actually pretty comparable to the 33 1.4 in terms of sharpness overall. And a lot of the character of the lenses kind of goes away, and it's just pretty sharp at the, you know, everything's just in focus at those apertures. So like I said, after I had the 33 1.4 for a couple weeks and I was shooting with it, I went back and I looked at a lot of, like, especially the portraits that I shot with the 35 1.4. That's a lot of the times that I was shooting wide open, and even some like subject photos I took with it, that I was isolating them with a wide aperture. I noticed that the bokeh was a little bit more jittery and distracting out of the 35. Sometimes it still was pleasing, and it definitely had more of a retro characteristic. It definitely reminds me of, the closest example I have is when my grandma passed away, I was given her old film cameras, and there was I don't think it's even a well-known brand at all. It's a Camaro, spelled with Camaro. It was a 35 f2.8, and the bokeh rendering on that has some of the same characteristics of this 35 1.4 from Fujifilm. A lot of people do say that this does have sort of more of a classic vintage rendering, as definitely compared to the 33, which is just like basically just like a perfect optic, which you might not be looking for that. Maybe you think that's too sterile and clean. I still think that this has just a Fujifilm character, that it's still pleasing. I think it captures a lot of the essence and character of the 35 1.4, but I think the 33 is just superior in a lot of ways. It's just sharper. It's basically, it's out resolving the X-Trans 4 sensor at 1.4 with what is in focus, which is just insane to me. You can zoom into 200% on something at 1.4 and it's out resolving the X-Trans 4 sensor. That's insane. And, you know, by comparison, the 35 1.4, especially wide open up close, it gets a little bit dreamy and hazy and definitely not very sharp. So that is a weakness of this, unless, you know, maybe you like that character. But I think in terms of consistency and client work, I think that the 33 is a better option. And the fact that I have it now, I don't see any reason why I should honestly keep the 35 1.4. And that is why my friend who's buying her first like real camera is going to be I'm going to be selling her this XE2 and this 35 1.4 as a package to her, as like a first legit nice camera that she can shoot fully manually, and I hope she gets a lot out of that. I definitely had a lot of fun with this, but I have too many cameras right now, and I need to get rid of something, to be honest. So yeah, that's kind of a first impressions. I just want this to be a quick video. I'm not gonna say this is a full-on review of the 33 1.4. To be honest, this is one of the, I don't think it needs a review. You know, there's not even that many reviews out there, but I don't think there's that much to say. Honestly, it just, like everyone else says, it blows you away. It's so much sharper than anything Fuji has put out thus far. The new 33, 18, and 23. I haven't had my hands on the 18 and 23, but I've heard that the 18 is arguably even better than the 33, and the 23 is arguably better than that, but I've also heard that the 33 is better than all of them. So I've heard about all of these 3 new Fuji lenses, that they're all better than each other, but that just goes to show they're all very good quality, and the focusing is really good. It's a lot better in video. The biggest difference between these two lenses is that the 35 has the jittery, like, the aperture ring on the old 35 just goes right through the apertures, basically. And the new 33, a lot better, a lot more controlled, stopping at each stop instead of just going through all of them. And also the autofocusing motor, the LM, the linear motors in this, you'll actually hear, you hear that? The image elements inside rattling around. That's because whenever it's powered on by the camera, they, like, I don't know, like some magnetic field activates and they're floating in suspension in air, and that floating image element is able to go really smoothly to focus, where this is just a lot less elegant. Like, you'll hear, let's see if I can get it to, that's more what that's going like, the and this is just completely silent. So anyway, that's my overview of the new 33 1.4, and that's why I'm selling my 35 1.4, also to help out my friend who is getting her first camera. And yeah, I just wanted to make this before I shipped out this camera tomorrow. So I've had a good time with this 35 1.4. It's definitely paid for itself many times over in terms of client shoots, and even in terms of just the enjoyment I got out of it, I feel like I definitely got my money's worth. I've enjoyed this lens, but I think I want to make my professional setup, and I have to make some compromises, and I can't be too sentimental about all the gear I've acclimated. No, all the gear I've accrued, maybe, that's a better word. I feel like I get too sentimental and I just want to keep everything, and that's just, I can't do that. I can enjoy my time with something and I can pass it on, and if I really regret it someday, I can buy it again. But I think I'll be able to live without this camera and this lens, because I already have other better cameras and lenses, to be honest. And that's all I gotta say. So I hope you enjoyed this video, this little bit of conversation about the new 33 and the old 35. I love them both, but I love the new 33 just a little bit more, and I own them both, so I'm keeping it, getting rid of that one. I think that makes sense to mostly anybody out there. So leave a like if you enjoyed, leave a comment down below, join in on the conversation. What do you think of these lenses? I'm sure I'll get a lot of people saying, I'll never sell my 35 1.4, never. I'll never do it. It's so good. It is good, but I think I can live without it. So, all right, that's all I gotta say. Peace.